Davis with VetsPlusSports.com. And I'm with my co-host, Mr. James Miller.
Welcome back. And while we was gone, just a few minutes here, Terrell, we had a few more picks come through. We had the Raiders take Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, and then you had the Saints go with an offensive tackle from Oregon, and the Colts they took a an edge defensive player from UCLA.
Oh,
So
okay.
now we're with Seattle. It's on the clock right now. We'll see where they who they're going to take. Um, so the pick is in. Now we're waiting to see what they're going to go with. They need some defensive help. So I'd say it's most likely going to be a defensive player unless we get a surprise. But we'll see who they got coming in.
Okay, cool beans.
But yeah, Seattle, man, we've done mentioned it just a minute ago. We're over there in that division with the 49ers. They could be in the running and trying to finish second in that division, fighting it out maybe with the Rams. Don't know if the Cardinals, they may be able to, if they get things to going, maybe fight it out between them three, have a three-way race for that second spot.
Right. Or all three of them have a battle it out to see who they're gonna put in the bottom in the basement.
That's
Because
it.
that's gonna be tight.
And, the year before last, Geno Smith had a real good year. And then it was kind of like an average year last year. So
Right, yeah.
can he come out and repeat a better, or like
What he had the year before.
four? That's
Yeah.
it. And he didn't have a bad year last year, but it's just a little down year compared to the year before. Now they've done signed him and gave him a contract as well before that.
Yeah, that's usually a bad sign. You get the money.
It seems like anymore they have contracts come in, and then the players the next year have the down year. I don't know what it is. If they just like, all right, I got my money.
Yep. It's like when money comes and production goes.
It seems like anymore. Well, that's coming in there, we're about halfway through this draft here in the first round. Um, this will be pick 16, and you got the Jaguars are on the clock next after Seattle comes in with this pick, and then at pick 18 you got the Bengals. And right now,
I'm really interested in that Bengals pick because they got receivers and defensive ends like
people want to leave.
trade. They
Want to leave.
they want out.
The Bengals went ahead and picked up Jamar Chase's last year on his contract. Franchise tagged Higgins, and then Higgins is one out. He asked for a trade, and then you got a defensive end coming out. Well, I want traded as well. So they are going to need some players if they maybe they trade those other two players that's wanting to leave.
But see, I'm wondering something is something we're not seeing. Something that's going on in the back office or something. Why is everybody wanting out?
That's the thing. And I was wondering today. A couple 2 years ago, the two teams that give a Chiefs run for their money in the AFC was the Bills and the Bengals. Well, now it looks like they're falling down. Now it's looking to be maybe the Houston Texans that give them the run for their money in the AFC.
Yeah,
And then the Ravens. That looks like the two teams that give them a run for their money.
and the surprise would be probably the Steelers to see if they're actually back to the juggernaut that they used to be.
The Steelers, man, they've been making some moves this offseason. So
They made some real good moves.
and Tomlin, he's a good coach. I like Coach Tomlin. So if he can get that talent together, get it gelling, and see how Russell Wilson can play out, and if he don't play out, I mean they don't have a bad backup option either in Justin Fields.
One thing I worry about with the Houston Texans, so now they got Diggs, so you would think that that would expand on the offense and make that more explosive. But you have like when the when that sophomore year comes around, things always aren't as good as that. The freshman year, the Cinderella year is like, oh yeah, they're going to be real great next, and then the next year it's just like they just don't do it.
Yeah, we'll see because they played some good ball and they've got two other good receivers besides Diggs. So you add Diggs to the mix, they've got weapons on that offense. And with Stroud there in Houston, I mean, you can't rattle him. It don't seem like they leased him for his rookie year anyway. And now we got the pick in from Seattle, and it is a defensive tackle, uh, Byron Murphy from Texas. So they went with the defense to get some help, and that was a lot of their needs. And now on the clock is the Minnesota Vikings. So they're on the clock right now.
Is this also their trade? I
Now they
mean,
traded. They done a trade.
that's what I had to think of. I was
So
like, they had two in there.
they had
That
two
was like
picks.
Jacksonville was up and
So Jacksonville was up.
traded.
They traded back with and the Vikings moved up. So this is going to be interesting to see who. I would say receiver. They've already got a
They
quarterback.
already got a quarterback, so they
I would say they're probably going to go with the receiver.
put a receiver on the other side of Justin Jeffries.
Because I mean, why else would you trade up? I mean, you've already got your quarterback. So unless you're looking to get a receiver that you're wanting to get, which the pick is already in, and I would say receiver, but their needs is with the defense right now. Their other needs because they've already
Right.
got their quarterback.
Aaron Jones was a running back. I couldn't remember that Minnesota guy. They took him from
They
Green
did,
Bay.
they did. They went right over to the rival, and that's the thing. It was you usually don't see, especially between Green Bay and the Vikings, big rivals. They don't like trading their players to their rival. Because if you remember with Brett Favre leaving Green Bay, they didn't want him going to Minnesota. So he went to the Jets, and then he ended up back in Minnesota anyway.
Yep.
So, but they got Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones is a good running back.
Yeah, I
He,
got a good bit of my squad from Dallas over there on the Commanders.
yeah, you do. So now with this pick, once it comes in, Minnesota may be bouncing back next year, which before Cousins got hurt this year, the year before that, they had that offense. It was a good offense, but their
Yes.
defense was their secondary was horrible. It was the worst in the league, and so you need to they need to build on that secondary, build on that defense, and get some help. That way, you can at least be able to contend. I mean, you can score all the points you want if you don't have no defense to stop nobody.
It's true.
It's going to come down to who's got the ball last.
True.
So now we're starting to see some trades in here in the first round. It was later on, and now it came in. They went with the edge, so they went with the defense.
Mm-hmm.
They got an edge. Dallas Turner from Alabama. So talking about defense, they went with the defensive pick there.
Now they had a joke on Instagram. Dallas Turner was supposed to go to Dallas because his name is
Dallas.
Dallas.
Now here we are.
Bengals is on the
Bengals is
clock.
on the clock, and I'd say they're going to go receiver. We'll see what comes out of this pick here.
Now they franchised Higgins. Uh, I couldn't remember. They either signed Tyler Boyd again or they traded him off, and I don't remember.
I don't either, because there was talks between them and Pittsburgh early, but about him going to Pittsburgh, but that never did. I don't think that fell through. Um, but we'll see. what they're going to go with here, which I'm thinking it's going to be a receiver. But yeah, like you already mentioned earlier. I mentioned a second ago. There's something wrong with that organization right now. They were contending, to be in the AFC Championship every year.
I know it was just what 3 years ago they were in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Then they was in the AFC Championship after that
Yep,
because the Chiefs had knocked them out of it.
yep.
And then it's like, what happened to them? I mean, because they were contenders. Now your receivers, you got players wanting to leave.
Yeah, you got players wanting to leave, and it's just like maybe they might. Hopefully, they can get a wild card. And then there's Buffalo's in that same department with them. Hopefully, they can get a wild card.
Buffalo, I think they're going to have to get draft some receivers and everything. But I mean, because you've got Diggs gone, you've got Gabe Davis is gone, so they got to get some receivers in there, and get some help.
And then I think this Diggs been wanting out for some years, so they already knew. And
They
so I don't know why they would. I would have tried my best to lock down Gabe Davis, knowing that he's gonna want out. You could have gave him his way out since you had ended up having to trade him anyway.
Yeah, I would have. I mean, Diggs has done said for the last couple of years he's wanted out of Buffalo. He wanted to go elsewhere. So why did you deal Gabe Davis off, knowing that most likely Diggs was going to leave? I mean, I to me, I would have kept I would have kept Gabe Davis, and then go ahead and got rid of Diggs. He's wanting out. At least have. I, I mean, was he second or third in the receiving? Probably, I'd say second receiving
Yeah.
with Buffalo. So at least keep your second guy, and then and then you could have dealt Diggs in.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I'd say they'll draft a couple of receivers in these drafts coming this year.
Right. I think when the season starts, we need to keep an eye on them because they dealt away their number one and two receiver, and San Diego dealt away their number one and two receiver. Let's see how that works out for them.
That's it. Yeah. But even at that now, you talk about that with the Bills and the Chargers dealing away their number one, number two receivers. Then right now, to they draft receivers, they're relying on their tight ends.
Right.
So you got what's his name, Palmer there, and with the Chargers, and the other tight end they have. So you got two tight ends they're working with, and same thing with the Bills.
Well, no, they have Knox.
Knox and Kincaid.
Yeah.
They got them two. So then you got the two receivers there. So they'll have to. I mean, tight ends. So they'll need to get some receivers to go with that to help them out. So the pick is in. Let's see who the Bengals is going to take, which receiver they're going to take. To me, I think they would.
You still think they're on a receiver?
I think they'll go receiver. I mean, because Higgs is wanting out, and which now too they traded away their tight end because the Chiefs got Urban Jr. from them and the free agency. So they traded one of their tight ends away. So which I figure they'll go tight end later in their pick.
About round 2 or 3, they'll go.
Yeah, maybe
tight end.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5, just depending. Because I mean, they need some. They got receivers they need, and they need some defense. And don't forget, they need a running back. They got rid of Joe Mixon.
They did. Who did they pick up? I think they're the ones who got Moss.
They got
But
Moss.
Moss is more of a. He's your. I don't put him down as for your full time back. He can share the backfield with somebody. He can come in and be a third down back.
That's what I was going to say. He's like more your third down back, short yardage. He's one of those that's hard to tackle. He gets you the dirty work in the trenches, what they say.
Right.
So yeah, he's more. I agree. He's more of a third down back. And that's like with the Bengals when they had P. Ryan a couple years ago.
Hmm.
He he backed up Mixon, but he came in for the short yardage, the dirty work, and stuff. And then they traded him off to Denver uh, year before last.
Right. And pretty much, I think they got rid of Joe Mixon just because I think it was the money. And once again, we're back at that same thing we always talk about. Why pay somebody some money when you can get somebody locked in at this rookie contract? And then you're like, fine, give me more money, but it's the contract, it's the rules. And it's like, you're saving money there. Wherever you got somebody at a rookie contract,
Yeah,
you are saving money there to allocate it to other places where you might. The quarterback is that skilled position that you can't get away with. But then again, I can't say that because Baltimore did it when they had Trent Dilfer
yeah, they did.
because that's when they won that Super Bowl with him and he didn't come back. I thought he just didn't come back that second year because he was like, "Nah, I'm just gonna retire on top." But they wouldn't give him any more money. That's what it was.
But the thing is, I mean, that year they won that Super Bowl because of the defense. That's the
It's
year the
true.
Ravens.
They won it on well. They won it on two things. That defense was number one. That was solid. That's the
That
number
was
one
doing,
thing.
yeah.
And two, Trent Difford didn't screw it up.
He managed it.
He managed it pretty good. He did not screw up.
No, he did.
So you still saying receiver? I'm thinking. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with receiver too because I can't think of anybody on that defense that they want to replace. Me, I want to replace with Woozier, but that's because I wanted to get rid of him when he was at Dallas. I was like, no, get rid of him. And then he went to he's at Cincinnati, so I'm like, you might want to just I think get a cornerback.
Well, so after these Bengals, we got the Rams and then the Steelers. You mentioned the Steelers. We just mentioned them. They've already been doing a lot of work in the off season already, and free agents are bringing in people. Um, they got rid of Pickett and then bring in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both. So, well, I was wrong. They Bengals went with an offensive tackle from Georgia. They went with Mims. So they're going to give
Burrow somewhat. But
Burrow some
we
protection.
should have known that because Burrow have been tackled so many times
Yes,
in
he
that
was under
backfield. He
pressure.
was sacked so many times. He even got hurt. He hurt his calf. It's like,
That was in preseason practice,
yeah,
and he got hurt. And they couldn't block. They couldn't block in
they can't
practice.
block during practice. We're talking practice.
practice. But so they got him a lineman. Now let's see what happens with their later in the regular rounds for the Bengals, because they'll be going receiver sometime.
Right.
I bet Joe Burrow's sitting there. He's saying, no receiver. Let's go lineman, lineman.
Lineman, exactly.
Give me somebody to protect me.
Yeah, because you got one that's going to forcing him to work. You don't want to be there.
And that's
You're
it.
going to force him to work. And the other one, you extended his contract. So
See, the thing is, they got the Bengals last year got one of our better offensive linemen from Kansas City went to the Bengals, and one of our better linemen. But my thing is, he took, if I'm not mistaken, he took less money than what the Chiefs was going to get him to go to play for Cincinnati. So,
right, he's probably thinking about that now. Like, oh, that was a bad choice. I didn't think we was going to repeat. But then again, didn't the Chiefs did that same thing? Who they took that one tackle from? Say they stole him from San Fran. Or they got him from somewhere. I forgot.
Ravens, they took one from the Ravens, I think.
It was the Ravens. Okay.
Yeah, they got one from the Ravens last year. Um, But they, well, I guess evidently the one that what's the name that they got from the Bengals got, he didn't do too well this year for Cincinnati.
Right.
But they signed, like I said, they signed him for. I mean, it was a pretty good big contract, but a little bit less than what the Chiefs was going to offer him.
They also took Collins from Dallas.
They did, they did.
So we got the Rams on the clock.
Yeah, they're on the clock with 2 minutes left, and then we're like I said, we're following up with after the Rams, you got the Steelers and then Miami.
Let's see. So the Rams should be trying to go with defensive tackle. Well, I don't know because I don't know who was backing up Aaron Donaldson, but he retired. So, but then again, you never can just go by what they just put out. He might be retired right now, but after the draft, or maybe like he can come back.
They're still on the clock; it's still ticking. Um, you look at Matt Stafford; he's getting up there in age. He's got a few years left, maybe. Um, you figure next year or so they'll probably be looking at getting a quarterback
Right.
to put behind him to
I'm
try to
thinking he
groom.
said 15 years in. This year would be 15 years in for him.
Yeah,
And usually at quarterback, you about the 13 to 16, or with Brady being an exception at 21. Uh, but especially at quarterback, they don't last that long.
no, they don't. And it was like unheard of to hear Brady going as long as he did. And he's talking about wanting to come back if a team needs him toward the end of the season that's making a playoff push.
Yeah.
And he'll be, I think, he turns 46 at the end of the year if he ain't already.
Right. So we should go ahead and call Brady the LeBron of NFL.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, Brady did him some flopping too.
He done instant flopping and crying, but I don't remember Brady walking off though. But you got to look. The NFL changed a lot of rules because of Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, they changed a lot of rules as far as hitting the quarterback and everything else. That all become because of Brady.
You know what I forgot about? While we have these, we was locked into this draft, so we want to make sure that we get this draft. There's NBA playoff games going on.
Yeah, they was. And
I don't even remember who's playing.
you got one game tonight. Last night, Celtics lost to the Heat.
Yep. That was
Um,
like maybe now it's time for the road teams to win some games. Because at first it was if you was home, you had that win. I think the Pelicans still lost. I didn't
they
get to
lost.
finish
They
the
did.
game.
Pelicans lost. They got blown out by OKC, and so that series there with that while we're talking basketball with OKC and the Pelicans, that may be a sweep. Both of them games they weren't even close in OKC. So
Get the brooms out.
get the brooms out, start sweeping.
And I'm hoping that I was looking at Instagram earlier today, and I'm hoping that the Knicks didn't ruin nothing. Josh Hart had commented on Embiid because Embiid was talking about something we should have won both those games, and but I agree with Josh Hart on that. He said like the game doesn't go about how you feel, and he said we're 2-0, and I'm hoping that doesn't come back to bite them.
Yeah,
It's like I understand you want to speak up, but that might have been something you should just let go.
All right, back to the Rams pick is in. You was talking about the retirement on defense. Well, they went defense side with Jared Verse from Florida State, and the edge rusher there. So they filled that position, and now the Steelers are on the clock.
I want to see what Mike gonna do. Mike Tomlin, see what he gonna get.
Yes, because I mean he's done been like I said with them Steelers done been moving and dealing on the free agency, and they have done very well.
They did. They did. I was like, out of all the people in free agency, it's like I really want to say they have the best grade. I want to say they topped everybody in free agency.
They made some good moves, and right now with their needs, what they got, they're they got receiver on there, and they got defense, which you can see that with defense, cornerback, defensive tackle. So there's some need there they can fill. If they don't want to go receiver this first round, which if you're needing defense, I would go defense because the receiver, it's like I said, the receiver this year in the draft is very deep.
Right.
They can still get a good receiver second, third round. I'd go defense, start beefing it up a little bit.
Right. Just to give you something funny to talk about why they on the clock and why they pick it up. Now, back in the day, Mike Tomlin played the same time Sean McDermott, the coach for Buffalo, played. Now, here's the thing that's funny about both of them. Mike Tomlin always had them nice defense. He was a wide receiver. Sean McDermott got the killer offense. He was a defensive back.
That's kind of crazy, ain't it?
It
It's
is.
total opposite. Well, you think about it. All right, being a receiver, okay, you got a good defense. Well, you know how to burn the defense fender after you start learning it.
Uh-huh.
And vice versa, if you're a defensive player, you know how to shut down that receiver. Then, well, I know how to burn those the defense. So
That's like when I coached junior high football. I was like, well, I was defensive back, so I actually coached the defensive backs because that's what I know.
yeah,
I'd be a defensive back. He said, well, no, you should be a wide receiver coach. I was like, I know nothing about the offense.
you see, you talk about that. When I played, I was a receiver, so I was offensive minded, passing the ball. When I coached there with
Pee Wee League and everything. I
Pee
had
Wee
like
League
the
and everything, I
C2
had
JV team.
like the
These little
T
kids,
at
six,
six,
7
seven
years
years
old.
old. I was the only team passing. And the thing was, it worked it worked good for the first time playing those teams, and I had to play those teams again because we didn't have that many teams in the league. Well, then they started lining people out there, but that's hard to teach at that age for little kids.
Right,
But
yeah.
that's what I was geared to. I mean, that's what I knew, and it was funny though seeing a little 6, 7 year olds throwing the ball, and when it first started out, the defensive players and little kids didn't know what to do, so they take off running trying to tackle them. So the pick is in for
All right, what Mike do?
the Steelers, and we are still waiting. We got to wait for Goodell to make that big long walk. He does. That man gets booed every time, every year. Don't matter where he's at, he gets booed. I'd be booing him too, though. Man, we're getting down to the end of this, closer to the end of this draft, and this is pick 20.
Okay. After this, after pick 20, you only got 12 more. 12 more, and they call it a night. We got only 4 more before I'd be like, yes! Or I'm just going to lose my damn mind. Because we don't know what Dallas is going to do.
No, we do not know what they are going to do. That's for sure. And I thought for sure already, the Chiefs will be trying to trade up to try to get get in front of the Bills because the Bills are going to go receiver. Um, I would think the Chiefs would go receiver because you don't know what's going to happen with Rasheed Rice. I'd say he's going to be out all year. That'd be my guess. I know we talked about 6 to 8 games, but with the charges he's going to be facing, I'd say he'd probably be gone all year. So,
Yeah, he might just be done.
but you never know. Reed may go. They may go defense and get a defense and beef up that front line of the defense. Help Chris Jones out.
Yeah.
That Chris Jones, he's a beast. He's tough to handle. If you can get another help, someone to help him out, uh, that'll be a tough front line to deal with.
And then you said this draft is loaded with receivers. They might just try to get somebody in that second, third round, fourth round.
Like Luke McCaffrey,
Yeah.
we need. I think get a speedster like Luke McCaffrey. Have him in Hollywood. Put put them both on the field together.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Because remember, I can't remember the letters. SB. What's his name? Val. Valdez. They got rid of him. They
Oh,
traded him.
Valdez Scantling.
Yeah. Scantling. Now, see, if Rice had done that earlier, I think they would have never got rid of Scantling. They would have probably held on to Scantling.
Well, they got rid of him. If I'm not mistaken, when they traded him or released or what they traded him, that freed up I think $12 million in cap.
Yeah.
Um, that was I think the big reason they got rid of him
The
is
money.
the money. That way they could play Chris Jones and the thing he done when he was with Green Bay. He done real good with Aaron Rodgers. I thought when he played at Green Bay.
Right.
His first year with the Chiefs, he done all right. He done pretty decent. But last year, he dropped potential game-winning touchdown. I think it was against the Eagles. Um, that was when they was playing regular season. I think it was the Eagles. I mean,
Right.
it went right through his hands. But it was part of the drop bug that the Chiefs had during the regular season. There,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed like when one was dropping, they all was dropping, even Kelsey.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke about a certain person, but I said we was gonna leave him alone till at least week 3. So I hope he does good because come week 4, the gloves is off. And I'm gonna be just like all these other people who can't play the game and gonna talk crap, junk about people who playing the game, about how they not playing it right and what they need to be doing. Yes, that's gonna be me.
Well, there we go. They went with an offensive guard from Washington. So they're going to get some blocking for Russell Wilson, and which Russell Wilson's probably going to have a better line in Pittsburgh than he did in Denver. Um, I would think.
Right.
Um, so
See, this is why I'm not nobody's head office trying to pick these players. Going for an offensive line. That's boring to me. I thought he was gonna get some damn defense, wide receiver, some action. You with lineman. Okay, lineman.
so your quarterback's going to be running for his life. Russell Wilson, sorry, we're not giving you no blocking. Well, Miami's on the clock. Let's see what they. Now, Miami, here's a team. You know, they got some weapons on offense.
Yeah,
Um, you think they'd be going some defense, get some defensive help.
I know. Cause didn't they get rid of Xavier Howard?
They did. They did.
They kept Jalen Ramsey. As far as I remember, I remember when they got rid of Howard, Ramsey was still on the team. So it was like, I think Howard was the thing. Once again, I think it was the money thing because Howard was probably looking to get paid. You know, his contract was up, and let's deal you so we can get somebody in cheaper. Or it could have been number two. Could have been, look, I can't pay Howard and play Ramsey. So, but you should have kept Howard. I would have dealt Ramsey. Yeah, Ramsey got a Super Bowl ring, but
Pick is in. It's coming in, but I would think I'm gonna guess they're gonna go linebacker
linebacker would be good.
because I mean they
We
need
haven't had a linebacker big drafted yet.
they've got a lot of defensive holes to fill or needs anyway. I'm gonna say holes, but needs. I would say they maybe go middle linebacker, or even a defensive front.
Right? And if our good friend Jeremy Trotter, ex Philadelphia Eagle, is watching, he should be seeing that the Cowboys is coming up, and he don't want his son going to the Cowboys. So yeah, he probably wanted his son to get
Well,
drafted right about now.
well, speaking of which, guess who's on the clock next? Those Eagles. So they're on the clock next, and the Eagles they need get
Now, do
this.
they need a linebacker? They could probably get
Yeah,
Jeremy Trotter.
they've got linebacker on there. Well, outside linebacker, cornerback, and safety. So they could take a linebacker if they wanted to. But
Yeah, I can see them going defense. I mean, you got both your wideouts locked up. You got a running back now with Saquon. You got your quarterback and Hurts. Uh, now, Kelsey's retirement might want to bring in a center or somebody. Well, I don't know who is playing behind Kelsey, so they might just be able to move on in and step on in, or they probably got somebody from another team, free agency that they didn't show up just yet. It's something like it wasn't too big of a trade. It might have been just go below the radar.
they, I'd say they already. They may maybe even may move a guard or a tackle over
That's
somebody.
true.
Somebody's already there. But that's going to be big shoes to fill, though. Because you remember that little push we talked about in one of the
The
previous.
tush push that
Yeah.
they should have got rid of.
Well, that the thing is, on that 4th and 1, at they've even done it from 4th and 2, and very successful. And Jason Kelsey is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Even Carson Wentz said that because they mentioned since he's the backup of the Chiefs, they talked about him maybe coming in on short down 4th and 1, third and
Right.
one to do the quarterback sneak. And they asked him about that, and he said he hadn't heard anything on that role yet, but he gave the credit to Jason Kelsey for that.
We just had a comment come in from Andrew TLC to protect Burrow.
Protect me, yeah. Eagles, Jags, and the Cowboys.
So that's what's up next: Eagles, Jags, and Cowboys.
After the Dolphins come in with their pick, that's where we're at.
So the Jags, where they're at now, where were they at? Who they give that pay up? Did they give that to the Rams? So the Rams would have been right there.
They
I forgot who they traded with.
the Vikings.
They traded with the Vikings.
Yeah, they was in the 17th slot.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because Vikings were at 23rd, and then they traded with the Vikings to drop down to 17 and 23rd. But
Now that's interesting. See, Carolina doesn't even have a first round draft.
well, actually, you've got 3 teams that don't have it. first round, and Houston Texans is one of those.
Hmm.
You got the Browns, the Texans, and the Panthers who don't have a first round pick. So
And out of those three, that's a hard toss up. I would say the one that really needed it. Oh, there's Phillies. I mean, who's this?
okay, that's a defensive player for the Dolphins. Edge rusher there from Penn State. Um, so they went defense,
Hmm.
uh, beef it up a little bit. Now you got those Eagles on the clock, and let's see if they go defense as well, which I figured they would, because I just seen today they extended AJ Brown's contract. If I'm not mistaken, it was saying 96 million for 3 years.
Right. And see, that's the thing. They can extend AJ Brown, uh, Devontae Smith. He's still on that rookie contract, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this would be the last year on his rookie contract, and he probably has an option for that extension. They can extend him another year.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say they're going to go. They'll go defense, but we'll see which way they'll go. If they'll go defensive tackle or if they go cornerback or linebacker. Um, they got some needs there to fill on defense, and we'll see which way they go with that.
Right. Here's my thing. Do you go the nepotism route and draft Trotter's kid? Because my thing is, do they really need him as a linebacker? I mean,
Let's see what happened there. They they show a need as a linebacker, but it's towards the bottom end. It's not towards the top right now.
right. So,
So let's see which way they go. And with the linebackers, let's see who's left. We got up here. We got Cooper there. He's left.
they all should be left because we haven't had
Yeah.
a linebacker go
Nope.
yet.
Well, see, yeah, you got Trotter. He's there, but there's a couple others that's ahead of him that they could choose, but like you said, they could go with Jeremiah Trotter if they wanted to.
Now, here's a question for you. Now, while we're waiting on this pick, here's a question for you. Now, out of those three teams that don't have a number one pick, that's not doesn't have a first round draft, who do you think is hurt more by that, Carolina or Cleveland? Because I would say
I would.
Houston, but
I
I
don't
think
think Houston
Houston's
is. I think
fine.
Houston's fine. I would say the Panthers more than you see. The Browns and the Texans both made the playoffs. Panthers did horrible, and you traded around, end up trading your first round pick, and which would have been a number one pick. So you could have picked you whoever you wanted. Which I don't know. Would they have kept that number one pick, even though you got Bryce Young?
Yeah, but
They
that's
probably
my
would have
thing. I
trade.
mean,
They may would have traded back.
I would assume they would have traded back too because my thing is to be 100% honest. Do you actually want that number one pick 2 years in a row?
And you've already got Bryce Young, who's your number one pick from the previous year,
Yeah,
and so I would say they may would have traded back, maybe got offensive line or which they need a lot of work. Panthers need a lot of work.
that's true. And I was like, I think they should have kept that pick. But it depends on what Chicago gave them for. Chicago must have gave them something good to where you can, what you call it. Because would you rather have a first round pick or have about three or four third or fourth round picks?
See, the thing was, if I'm not mistaken, the Panthers, you remember, got more from Chicago.
Yeah, DJ Moore. It was from
So
Chicago. I thought it came from yeah, that was
in
Chicago because I
Chicago,
thought it
so
was
I think that's
Seattle.
where Chicago may have got that first round pick from the
Yep.
Panthers.
Yep.
during that trade. Um, I'm not 100% sure, and so, but I think that may be where it came from.
Yeah, this might be where it came from. Let's see. Let me do some research on that real quick.
We're waiting on this Eagles pick to come in. That's another thing. Let's see how the Eagles do this year. They seem to falter off. We done talked about that. I think it's episode 2 or 1,
Right,
where they fell off towards the end of the year season after starting out with a good run, and which my thing was after they went to the Super Bowl,
right,
their their defensive players they left. They traded them off. Like it was a 2 or 3, and that kind of hurts. I mean, especially if you made a championship run or made a run to it, and then you can't keep your defense together that helped got you there.
true. I'm trying to find.
I wonder if we can. So who do you think Jags is going to take? Because all their needs is showing defense.
Right, that's what I was pretty much thinking. Because offensively, they're still, to me, the jury is not out on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, like he's mediocre at best. He's been
I think he's
looking like a
done.
Ryan Leaf.
He's done enough to keep it moving a little bit. Um, which I haven't seen him play a whole lot.
Right,
So I don't know. I don't know if on the offensive end if it's not enough blocking or to give him protection or what.
right.
They went with cornerback Mitchell from Toledo.
Oh wow.
So now the Jags are on the clock.
Alrighty. All right. So who we got up next?
We've got the Jaguars on the clock, and like I said, they're going to go defense. I would say.
I'm going with they're going to go with defense because, like I said, but Trevor Lawrence, like I said, he's just, and it's not because they don't have a star running back. It's not that didn't have the receivers.
Now they got an offense, and They got an offense, but they need they need to get some defense going and get some defensive players. So let's see. Let's run down the next little bit to the. We've got your Cowboys are next after the Jags.
Yes,
So are you going to be disappointed with their selection?
I'm going to be either happy, hopefully happy, hopefully happy. I'm good with happy, or disappointed.
So picks in. We're just waiting.
Okay, we're just waiting.
So what if your Cowboys pick a running back? Would you be happy?
I can live with that because, like I said, Deuce Vaughn they got and Rico Dowdle. They're good as backups, but not 100%. They're not going to be able to do it full time. And that was my thing with they're not going to be able to do it full time. And I wanted to, and then there was rumors that they might get Ezekiel Elliott, but like I said, it was just rumors. I got to stop getting my football sports news
Well,
from Instagram.
well, that there was talk of that happening, and then after there was one trade that happened, and after that did, it kind of x that talk of Elliott coming back to Dallas, and I can't remember what trade that was between teams that done that. So I
Right.
remember seeing that. So we may. It's finally getting me done. But we may have to. I may have to get with you to finish it out. Man, they take forever. And after them Cowboys, you got Green Bay, who was a surprise team last year.
They were definitely a surprise. At first, when they first started, it didn't look like they were going to make it, and then next thing you know it, they're like gearing up for that wild card run, and it's like,
I tell you what surprised me was Love. His Love's play. I didn't expect Love to do as good as he did coming out the first year.
right, exactly.
He looked. I mean, he made some good throws on the run under pressure. He looked pretty good. All right, they had went with receiver Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU.
Hmm.
The
Uh,
Jags went with the receiver.
so far, the name has not been what you call it. It's like Marvin Harrison Jr. It's like he went. Well, I can't say he went solely on his dad's name, but I mean, like he had production over there in Ohio State. But I'm just saying, Jerry Rice's kid has not been called yet.
Now they got him down. They got him on down the list a little bit and everything. So there's a few more receivers ahead of him um, before his name gets called.
Right. And that's what's surprising me is like why he's not being I swear up and down if we would got his son.
But right here, I got the list right now. Your next best available receiver is Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. Is the next one in line is shown as availability, and then you got Mitchell from Texas, McConaughey Key from Georgia, and then Worthy from Texas. So there's a whole lot of receivers ahead of Breeden Rice. You're looking at probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10.
Ahead of him?
10 at the head of Rice right now.
But then again, you know what? That seems about right. I don't think Jerry Rice was a first round pick.
No, he wasn't. Actually, he played for Mississippi State, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he, he got passed around. He got passed up on a few times. And a lot of it, I think, was because of his, well, I think because of his size. Um,
Well,
but
he was. Remember, the old uniforms ain't like these new uniforms. They is like remember the old ones. Like I remember seeing Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. They look like boxes. Like they had
they
a
did. They
cardboard
had these.
box.
I mean, they had these big shoulder pads and everything else. And but the funny thing was, I mentioned on the when we first episode when we was talking about, I grew up a 49er fan, but I remember Jerry Rice talking about when he was kids, his dad worked on houses and stuff, and they were throwing bricks up to the top of the house,
Right.
and so he could. And he said that's how he got his soft hands was from catching those bricks and everything. So he he got it from that, and which he has some good hands and everything else. He had some of the best hands at the time in the NFL. So that's where he got them from. And I'd say if I was a betting man, I bet he had his boy doing the same workouts he did
Yeah. I would say that.
because I mean it turned out good. It turned out good for him um, in his career, and so. But we'll see where your Cowboys go. Now, for your needs, they showing right here, they got receivers as the top. And
That
then,
might be true because I'm hearing that C.D. Lamb ain't showing for camp. Him or Michael Parsons.
now, Michael Parsons, I think they just made a deal with him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it came today. I seen something with him. They were working out a deal. Now, I know now it's different than years past when you didn't hear players hardly holding out or not showing up to camp. But now today, the way everything's going, yeah, I don't take a whole lot of stock on them holding out
Right.
during summer camps and everything. Now you start getting around August, July, August, then you can start, having some concern. But now it's anymore this spring camp. A lot of them anymore. There's a lot hold out um, and don't even go. But I'd say I'd say they'll get a deal with him and they'll get stuff worked out. He's too good of a receiver to not get something worked out.
Right.
I mean, you done got rid of your best running back, and surely they wouldn't do that. Let their best receiver go.
I don't know. Jerry Jones, which I'm also gonna lay off him. I'm done with the Jerry Jones knocks till week 4. Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones, you got till week 4. And that's just what you call it. That's just being me being nice. because you know what? If you drop them first 3 games, I am going to hear it at my job. They are going to come for me. So I think that I am deserving to go after y'all because I have to sit and take it. It's about time y'all sitting there take it, have to take it too.
I did see some. He's talking how could this be Dak's last year at Dallas?
Yeah, and this the bad part is this is all on Dak. It's like if that one, like I said, I get it from Instagram. I just gotta quit getting it news from Instagram. But if it's true, if he's talking about some, he can't feed his family off of 36.5 million. I mean, like 36.5 million a year, and he's talking about some. Well, I can't feed my family on that. I'm like, what the hell are you feeding me?
Your line, I mean, your Cowboys just traded their pick to the Lions.
Oh my gosh.
So what do you think about that? So now Dallas don't have a
A first
first
round
round
pick.
pick. Did you see that coming?
No, I did not see that coming.
That oh my goodness. What is Jerry Jones thinking?
That was dumber than what I could have thought of.
Here we are talking about them, picking something, picking a making a dumb choice the first round. They just traded it off.
Well, see, where did they just traded back,
But
didn't
now
they?
they just trade
They
back. They trade back.
to
Okay,
29.
29. So they traded back to the 29 because they had the so they just dropped back. So they do have that first round pick now. It just took
We'll
time.
see.
It took time for it to upload it there, but they dropped back to 29.
No, wait a minute. This was not stupid. I know what they did. They're doing what they did with Micah Parsons. Before they drafted, it was one of the years where Dallas didn't do too good, and they had like the eighth pick, and they traded back to like 11th, and
Yeah.
they got Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the NFL have the player association and the way the NFL union did, depending on where you fall, what number you fall, you only get so much percentage of what you can max out at.
Yeah.
So if whoever they would have got at 24 is still available at 29, they're paying them less.
Yeah, it is. That's like those that are drafted in the first ten rounds are making more money. Those drafted towards the first part of the first round.
Right.
So like where the Chiefs are sitting at 32, they won't have to pay all that money that they would if they was at number 10.
Exactly.
So, but it scared me at first because that didn't come up. It was showing the Lions having the 29th pick and the 24th pick. And I'm like, what did they
Yep.
just do?
And just out the corner of my eye, seen that star just appear, and I was like, "Wait a minute."
So we're waiting for the Lions, and let me tell you what, the Lions are going to be pretty tough again this year. I think I say they're going to go defense. They need to go defense because that was the only downside for the Lions was their defense was it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best either.
I don't know, but the Lions did good last year. Dan Campbell did real good with them. But all that gambling he did by going for it on fourth down when he should have been taking them field goals, I think that's a missed opportunity because
He'll,
I don't see. I see him going to the playoffs, but that division, and this is like going to be a long shot. Me even going that. Why I would try to say that Green Bay is going to win that division because we know it ain't going to be Chicago or Minnesota.
no,
Not with rookie quarterbacks.
no. It ain't. But the Lions. Dan Campbell. He's going to hear about that going on fourth down all next year and everything. So I don't know what happened.
Uh oh.
I went out.
Here, let's do this.
Yeah.
Switch. All right. Switch.
So we got a little technical difficulties right here. So We're back. We're right here waiting on the Lions to get their pick in, which we're figuring they'll go defense. And then you got Green Bay's coming up second next, which they've got a pretty good offense. We'll see what they come up to and everything. So we're waiting on that pick to come on in.
And they, you know, come to think of it, it's probably somebody very important that the Lions had to get now that they couldn't wait a few more draft picks.
Did that not?
I think you got to cut it back on.
Yeah, I'll cut it back on. We'll flip over here. It should, since it's charging, it should. There it goes. Let's see if I can get back in on that.
All right, now while my partner wait to get his phone back activated, the pick is in.
Cornerback.
They went with a corner. Now let's see. Did they lose any corners? Anybody? Did they lose any secondary? I don't recall them losing anybody
No,
in the
they
secondary.
I think they were young. They were young in the secondary. So
All right. Well, they added some more youth to that secondary. Some fresh legs.
they're on the clock. Come on now.
Oh, you know what? They look at that. They just jumped the line in front of Green Bay. That's what the Lions was doing. They made that trade with Dallas so they can jump before Green Bay.
I bet you Green Bay is needing to. They was needing to get probably that's what they did. They leapfrogged them
Yeah.
to get in front of them so they could get that pick that player they wanted.
Right.
So
So Green Bay is on the clock now.
start wrapping up.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're about to wrap this one up, and we'll do one more to finish it out with the last. What pick we on? 25. So we have pretty much 7.
Yeah.
So once again, this is Terrell Davis with VetsPlusSource.com. Getting ready to sign us off and see if we can come back with this second camera. Be safe out there.